Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple. In our previous video, we looked at how Xavi was able to show promising signs in a 2-0 defeat to Bayern Munich. But in this video, we'll focus on Nagelsmann's tactics in possession and how he secured the win for Bayern Munich. So let's take a look. And a lot of you do ask what software I use to edit, and it's called Once Analyzer, and I've teamed up with them, so they've given me a discount code so you can get 10% off. And it was already affordable to begin with, so any of you analysts can go ahead and click the link down below for the discount. Bayern Munich are usually excellent at playing out from the back, especially with a ball-playing keeper like Neuer, but Barcelona was so effective in the press that they made this almost impossible. Barcelona's press was so effective, meaning that often when we see Bayern willing to use Kimmich as a single pivot and pushing up their other midfielders, in this case it wasn't possible. So Sabitzer was almost full-time alongside Kimmich. And even from goal kicks, Barcelona were applying pressure, meaning that Bayern Munich had to drop most of their defenders deep in order to provide passing options, whilst Lewandowski and Gavi were ready to press. And in open play the structure was slightly different, but the idea of pressing laterally was the same. So when looking to play short, Neuer would be forced to go one side or the other, often down the left-hand side. And immediately, Lewandowski wouldn't necessarily press the centre-back, but rather look to cut the lateral passing options so that Bayern were now immediately being forced to play down one side of the pitch. Instead, the role of pressing the centre-back would lie on the ball side higher midfielder, in this case Gavi. So he would then look to approach Hernandez while still using his cover shadow to cover the Bayern Munich pivot, so that pass would be difficult to make. That would be backed up by Busquets being willing to abandon his single pivot position in order to press the second centre-back, whilst Pedri would do the same on the far side. As you can see, the Barcelona trap is in effect, as Hernandez only has one option, which is to go back towards Davis. But, of course, Rafinha would be pressing aggressively, and so would Koundé, as Mane looked to drop deep to receive. This would either force Davis into a hopeful pass longer up the pitch, into Mane, who's already under pressure, or back towards Neuer. And when he did go back towards Neuer, Lewandowski's more central positioning put him in the perfect place to look to apply pressure immediately. And in this game, Neuer played long much more often than we're used to, and had a fairly low pass accuracy at that. So as we can see, when Bayern are looking to start short, Lewandowski and Gavi are already in position to press, meaning that Bayern have dropped all of their back four deep in order to be in position to provide a passing option. So, as soon as the ball goes wide, Rafinha can press Davis, and we see that Gavi is in position to press the second centre-back. Running on, and we see that Busquets has dropped deep with Sabitzer, whilst Pedri is on the second pivot. Lewandowski, on the other hand, is still cutting the lateral passing options, and this leads to a turnover for Barcelona. Open play demonstrates these principles even more clearly. Lewandowski is mainly concerned with cutting the lateral passing lane, and if the ball is with Davis, it's up to Rafinha to press him. Gavi immediately presses the second centre-back, and again, Lewandowski is cutting that option. And Busquets abandons his defensive midfield role in order to press Sabitzer, whilst Pedri does the same on Kimmich. With no options, Hernandez goes deep, and Lewandowski in that central position is actually able to intercept Neuer's pass, leading to a dangerous situation that's not taken advantage of. But this willingness to press, even in open play situations, meant that Barcelona were often defending in a 4-4-2. This would allow them to apply pressure on both of the centre-backs, as well as both of the pivots. But of course the problem was that either Musiala or Müller, if they had rotated, would be free between the lines. It seems that this was a gamble Barcelona were prepared to take, as they were so confident in their pressing shape that they did not believe that the Bayern players would have the opportunity to make these passes to men between the lines. And at times they were proven correct. However, Bayern is a quality team, so we did see several situations where a penetrative pass found Müller or Musiala between the lines, and then they were able to run at the backline, leading to dangerous situations. Again, Barcelona are using their preferred pressing shape, Gavi on a centre-back, Lewandowski cutting the lateral passing lane. Pedri and Busquets have both pushed up onto the remaining pivots, and Rafinha on Davis. As we can see, Mane and potentially Musiala are free between the lines. But rather than a pass in this situation, it is individual quality by Alphonso Davies that gets him in behind. And as we can see, the centre now has no protection, meaning that Mane and Musiala are both free to potentially receive, as Dembele does his best to cover. This leads to a potentially promising situation, but nothing comes of it. And here, once again, we see that Barcelona are lined up in a 4-4-2 as they look to press higher up the pitch. And he's not found in this situation, but we can see that Musiala between the lines has caused Christensen to move higher up, potentially opening up a gap in the defence that Müller or Sane could have made the move into. And in fact, we see some of this in Bayern Munich's goal. So, Barcelona are lined up in their 4-4-2, and we can see that Musiala is in behind the defence. So with both Pedri and the second midfielder, the wrong side of Musiala, he's able to receive between the lines. And once he does, he can then turn and run at the defence, with Sane in support. As we saw before, Christensen looks to be aggressive in covering Musiala, but that only creates gaps in the defence. And Sane's pace means he's able to produce an outstanding finish. But with Barcelona being so aggressive with their lateral press, it did present opportunities for Bayern Munich. That is, if they were able to play around this lateral press and come out the other side, there would be space for them to attack down the opposite wing, which we did see occasionally, but Bayern weren't able to do this too often. So we can see Barcelona as usual committing men to this lateral press down one side of the pitch. In this case, Hernandez is able to make a good long pass towards Müller, who as we discussed could be the free man between the lines. He's able to receive and draws Christensen high up, so now Bayern can find Sane. And as we can see 1 versus 1 with Alonso, this would be a very dangerous situation. And again, it leads to Bayern attacking Barcelona's box. And high up, in controlled possession, we saw Nagelsmann use an ultra-aggressive shape that we've seen quite a bit of this season. This involved getting Davies high up the pitch so that Mane could operate more centrally, whilst Müller and Musiala would also be in close proximity. Sabitzer, as he did last week against Inter, looked to operate in the half space, whilst Kimmich was the central passing hub. Last week, Barcelona would have lined up in a back three in this situation, but with Pavard having gone off early and Mazraoui coming on, he would also tend to push high up the pitch. So now this is very little security against the counter-attack. So the advantage for Bayern is that they could find men higher up who could combine between the lines. But of course, the disadvantage is that whenever there was a turnover, Kimmich could immediately be swarmed, and Barcelona would immediately be running at a back two of Upamecano and Hernandez. So high up, you can see just how many numbers Bayern are prepared to commit to the attack. So when there's a turnover, Kimmich is already the only midfielder available. So a simple pass is able to get Gavi free in acres of space. He then finds Lewandowski in a dangerous situation, and it's only the amazing pace of Davies that saves the day for Bayern Munich. Overall, despite the win, Bayern will be concerned by some of the patterns they saw during this match, something no doubt Nagelsmann will look to address. But 3 points is 3 points, and they'll march forward. Tactically speaking, again, Xavi gets a 7.5, whilst Nagelsmann gets a 6.5, as I felt at times by Xavi. Let me know what you think of this match.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you might enjoy the content available on my Patreon. Not only does Patreon help to support the continued production of content, as I am a one-man team, but it also gives you early access to videos that will come on the channel. You'll also get exclusive videos, get to vote on polls, and so much more. And it's cheaper than ever, no longer having a tier system, so everyone on the Patreon gets access to all the content. So head over to patreon.com/footballmadesimple to check it out.
And a special thanks to my patrons, Per Sandstrom, Moez Bendabi, and Robert O'Brien.